Hello, everyone. My name is Thomas. To the Elite Dangerous community, you will know me as Commander Halflock. There's the original account that I've got, which is still currently Halflock, and the console transfer, which is the half L0CK account. For those who have come across me in game, I am who you shot at and got shot by, and interdicted by, or explored with, or traded with, or any of the other things that I've done in the game that I've enjoyed doing. First things first, I would like to once again thank Frontier Developments PLC for making the game, which I enjoy. I would also like to thank all of the other commanders in game whom I have enjoyed playing with and who have contributed their collaborative energies to the Nain Logs for the past 3-4 years that I've been writing the thing. Filthy Mick and the Raxla guys on the console game group side, always a pleasure. Commander Blue Crash, I still believe that that run of logs that we did at the end of the second season is probably one of my favorite runs. About 6 or 7 logs of story. It's just a great fucking run. And I very much appreciate your collaborative efforts in making that into what it was. I would also like to thank Artie from Inera.cz for creating the platform on which the Nain Logs was first authored and published. For those of you who are aware of this project, which again is called the Nain Logs Valorization and Timing, or rather, for those who don't know anything about the project, you are free to go to the link in the description and read up. For those of you who don't, or for those of you who do know what it is, I'm just going to move straight into the announcement. It's probably, it looks to be 1,600 hours UTC on the 15th of April, which means that the project will be launching at some point today/tonight, and it will run for about 60 days. Now, again, we're looking to raise, at bare minimum, $2,500 for the master. Now, any funds that are made, donated, beyond that will be allocated to musicians and design elements and this, that, and the other. That will be, those decisions will be updated and placed on the Kickstarter page, so you'll all be made aware of what's going on in terms of how much money we have at any given point. Those updates will probably be coming every couple of days. So you will be kept well informed about what it is that is happening. As of now, I have been in communication with everyone's favorite dead mother, Beetlejuice, about the possibility of commissioning a piece of art for the cover and other possible design elements. And again, any developments in that end or on that end will be placed on the Kickstarter, so you will be well informed throughout the entirety of the process. there will be a very specific release schedule that will also be occurring over the course of the year should the Kickstarter be successful. Before I get into that, I will get into the personnel. So again, I am Thomas. I have been putting out remixes, speedrun remixes, really, for like contests that I don't really care to win. Just too much work, not enough effort. Anyway, this will be the first official release on the Electrons and stuff like that moniker. It's just a name that I decided upon back in 2011. There's no like real, it's just sort of a fun name, but it works because I mean you don't really have any idea of who I am, no real reason to know, nor do you know what I'm up to or where I'm headed. And even when you do, you really don't, based on everything I've been dealing with. So it's sort of this cutesy reality of like, nah. Now, the second of the three generally main contributors to this project will be a man named Camilo Landau, who was a longtime friend, a longtime musical collaborator. Known each other since we were kids. We have fun with one another. We enjoy each other's company. More importantly, and sort of more relevant to the project, he's a Grammy Award-winning guitarist, and he's one of the co-heads of Round World Records. He and his uncle have been running the project for quite some time. Not the project, but the label for quite some time. So they've been doing a number of scores, music soundtracks. They put out albums pretty regularly. They're just going to be at it. Without naming anybody, I've dropped lines to various people I've met over the course of my years, both as a musician and as like a fucking industry desk jockey. But for the time being, it will be managed by Camilo. Now, I should point out that Camilo is a father, husband, and a valuable contributing member to his society and to his community. So please just don't bother him with like stuff that is not going to be relevant to this project based on whatever it is you think you're hearing. You can direct all the questions over to Kickstarter. Camilo will again be handling most of the label stuff, distribution, where they'll be available for streaming once they're released, this, that, and the other. The other main contributor is a man named Charles Gurk, who we all lovingly refer to as Charlie, which is a pretty common nickname for a man whose name is Charles. Now, Charles Gurk is a composer and working saxophonist. He's also or at one point was, I'm leaning towards the musical director for the We Players, which is a theater troupe out of the San Francisco Bay Area, who does site-specific theater. I myself have been pulled in by Charlie on a couple projects. A production of Hamlet on Alcatraz, and a production of Macbeth at San Francisco's Fort Miley. The theater troupe does site-specific theater. They work with the National Forestry Service to take people around these, national landmark sites where they will where they watch Shakespeare theater production in places that they wouldn't otherwise be allowed to go in these national landmark sites. Like Camilo, Charlie is like a relatively valuable contributing member of his community. He's a musical instructor, so he's instructing and training hundreds of aspiring musicians every fiscal quarter. So again, just try to be respectful of the fact that these guys are guys that have other things going on in their lives. And to them, this is a musical project, like the hundreds of others they were going to do here. We're all, we're friends and whatnot. We've known each other for years. Uh, but this is my project, and they are contributing members, as they always have been, and as they always will be when I do my things. However, uh, they're not here for you. So they're here for the music. So just try to keep that in mind if you have any questions. Send the questions over to Kickstarter, this, and the app. I believe I mentioned something about the release schedule. Now, so what will be happening is that certain tracks will be delegated over to Charlie and Camilo for expansion, re-envisioning, and reimagination. They'll be bringing in other personnel. I've had discussions with other musicians as of today. They'll be dealing with most of the stuff in terms of the management of musicians on their end. But again, these tracks will be delegated to them based on whatever considerations we all make as a group. And when those tracks are completed, they'll be released to the Kickstarter supporters 2 weeks, maybe a month in advance. At which point they'll also be released for mass distribution should Camilo have a better understanding of this, which he does. I should also point out that the Kickstarter supporters will be also receiving uh, a newer and more updated, mixed down and mastered of the original tracks that made it to the videos. So the Kickstarter supporters will be receiving a double album, which is the originals, remixed, remastered, and the reimaginings. At the end of December, which is the current completion date of the project, anything that hasn't been released will be released. So again, as of now, the Kickstarter supporters will be receiving 2 albums worth of material. I mean, one, but two. And they will also be receiving a year's subscription to my Patreon page. And it'll likely be the case that I'll pump out, whatever, some dance tracks here and there as I try to sort of look through my own understanding of the way audio works and what sounds I want to make use of for the new ones. So you'll be hearing a lot more. There'll be a lot more on the Patreon page over the course of the year. Don't know if there's anything else to say. We're starting today. We got 60 days to raise 2,500. If you'd like to send us more, you're more than welcome to. We greatly appreciate it. I'm sure Camille and Charlie would immediately appreciate it because they themselves can get paid musicians. At the end of the Kickstarter project, we'll make a determination as to how this is all going to work. All the updates as to personnel, budgetary costs, any updates with regard to the Beetlejuice Commission, various tracks, personnel, expenses, those will all be posted to the Kickstarter over the course of the project. there's anything else that you have any questions about, I would highly suggest you first head over to the Kickstarter page, which you will find in the description of the video. And from there, you can head over to my Patreon page and send questions there if need be. If the questions that you have not been answered by any of the information there, you can also head over to any of my YouTube pages. Uh, Either the original Nain Incorporated page, which is now the Commander Half Log Tom page, which I'm using for all video game stuff, and then the actual Commander Half Log page, which is still specifically dedicated to the Nain Logs. And that's pretty much all there is to announce at the moment. Ooh, ooh, hold on.